And we are live. It's working. Hello to our YouTube friends, me and Mark, my wonderful friend that is a law of attraction specialist, is going to start to teach us about this in just a couple of minutes. Well, less than minutes. I just want to make sure that everything works properly. I hope that you guys can see Mark on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, the natural light is for sure missing, but I know that you are patient with me. Yesterday, Mark, I had a talk with Veronica, my Romanian friend, and it took us, I think, 10 minutes for us to start our live Facebook. She could not get in. At least we are live. At least people can hear you. They know you're here. Okay, and now going to Instagram in just a second. Okay, checking the connection. And we are live on Instagram. Hello to our friends. We are going to start in just a moment. I am with Marc Schissler from the Get the Law of Attraction amazing course and platform. He is very knowledgeable and passionate about the law of attraction. So we are in for an amazing talk. It's almost the weekend, so relax, get a pen, get a piece of paper, and start writing some amazing things down because we have Ruby with us. She's just amazing, Mark. She's always with us. She was with us the last time. Thank you for joining us, Ruby. I hope you're doing great. And I am loving your art, Ruby. You are so talented. So do more of what you are doing. And yeah, everything seems great. Mark, any questions, any thoughts before we start the actual live Spotify recording?
No, I've got plenty to say.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, well, our friends on YouTube cannot really see you too well. You know, I miss the big screen. I'm definitely going to get the big screen back, but they can for sure hear you. So thank you to everyone watching us. We are going to start the actual live Spotify recording in three, two, one. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 54. Oh my God, how did time go by? Wealth and the law of attraction with a great friend of mine, Marc Schissler. As a public markets consulting and business developer, Mark got interested in the law of attraction by a video sent to him by a friend who died before he could even watch the video by Jim Carey. And this is something that Mark considered as a sign. Ever since, Mark has developed an amazing platform. He is constantly teaching us through his amazing content what does the law of attraction mean. And my first question to you, Mark. By the way, welcome again. This is the second time that our friends see you.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Can you please tell us, Mark, as a first question, because I am also very curious about this. What does wealth mean in terms of the law of attraction? How does it all go together?
Well, that's a really good question because wealth means so many things to so many different people. Um, for example, if you can't walk, wealth would mean being able to walk. To some, it's monetary. To some, it's freedom, and to some, it's love. So it has a really different meaning depending on your reality. So I think it's also an appreciation of looking at exactly what you have today and taking a look at all the things you should be grateful for. And in a sense, that is an accumulation of wealth. For example, something like, I've done such a wonderful job. I painted my house. I repaired my car. I did something of value for myself. And so it's a little bit of self-appreciation too. So wealth and the law of attraction go together in that if you set your intention and you are outwardly expressing happiness and joy, that's what you're going to attract into your life. If you're grateful for the wealth that you already have, then most likely you're going to attract more wealth. But if you walk around with a woe is me kind of attitude, you're going to attract more of that. So I think that's, in general, that's the principle.
Wow. You said something that got me thinking about some of my entrepreneur friends that are very into personal development, Mark. They know that having a positive attitude and being grateful is super important. However, many of them, one has even asked me, I think three weeks ago, what truly happens when you are grateful? I mean, how do you attract those things? Because some say it's magic, but what really happens there?
Well, I think what happens is that you get such a good feeling inside that you exude that in your personality. For example, many of the people that I've met that I've expressed gratitude for, I'll run into them a month later, and they'll come up to me and they'll go, "Oh my gosh, where have you been? I haven't seen you. Thank you. I'm thinking specifically of a couple of people who were living in the car, and I would see them every day at McDonald's. I would buy them food. I would ask them what they're doing. They would tell me their problems, and eventually, what happens is those problems get resolved. Like they did find an apartment, right? And weeks went by, and I saw them again, and they were like, oh, let me tell you what happened. We got an apartment. We're not living in our car anymore, and we're so glad to see you. And how have you been? And so it's those kind of things that make you feel really, really good. And when you express that kind of energy out to the world, you're going to attract more of that positivity coming back to you. And it can be in many different ways. It's not just with gratitude. It could be with doing some sort of service. It could be doing a good job at work. And your boss notices, and your boss comes to you and says, "Wow, you did such a great job on that project. Thank you very much." And you're like, "Wow, I had no clue." But now it makes you want to do even better. And it's those kind of experiences and feelings that's kind of what I mean by gratitude. So it can be a physical gratitude, it can be a mental gratitude, but it still affects your inside. And that inside, you're right, it is a little bit of magic because you can then express that to all the other people in your life. And it definitely changes things.
Wow. You know, what you just said now reminds me of the quote that very many big names out there use. They say that we are built to serve. This would be the supreme goal that we have as human beings. What do you think about that, Mark?
I think it definitely helps. I think if you have that mindset, you're already ahead of 90% of the population. When you're serving, you're actually expressing things that it doesn't have to be monetary either. It can be just helping things. I do think that's important, and there's definitely a reason why those big people, and I'm thinking of like Tony Robbins and all the other big seminar producers. They produce a lot of free material, so in their own way, they're serving as well. So I think it's definitely part of the equation. But law of attraction is not just a single law. And I think that's one of the things we skipped over last time. If you do the research, there's anywhere from 10 to 12 universal laws. Law of attraction is a subset of those 12 universal laws. And there's laws in there like the law of free will, the law of permutation of energy, the law of cause and effect, the law of attraction just fits in there with some of those. And manifestation sort of rides along with law of attraction. So when you're expressing things that you would like to manifest, you're using the law of attraction, but you're kind of stepping outside of that main law just a little bit. So just for everybody to know that law of attraction is not a be-all and end-all. It's part of a larger system of universal laws.
Wow. Indeed, we did not have time to discuss about this last time. So can you please tell us, Mark, exactly where does the law of attraction is truly situated in all of these laws, and how do they all come together? Is there a certain alignment?
Yeah, I think it fits right below the law of energy. And the
Okay.
law of energy says that basically for each thought and vibration that you have, that's what you put out to the world. That's what you can expect to get back. And that's how law of attraction is the very next one, because that's how you manifest that energy. And that's how you put that energy to work. So, yeah, and manifestation falls right, it's like a subset of the law of attraction. But free will, the law of free will, we're all free to make decisions in our lives. That's just a law, sort of a self-existing, self-sustaining law. And there are like 12 of those. If you do the research, you're going to find different interpretations, but it all boils down to those 10 or 12 laws. So, and they all have law of attraction.
Wow, thank you for saying this, Mark. I'm sure that everyone watching us and listening to us, and we have our friend Ruby that was also curious about where is the law of attraction situated in all of these amazing methods that actually just show how the universe works.
Yeah.
It's truly fascinating, Mark. And I also wanted to ask you, what is your experience? Do you have any other amazing stories to share with us about how did the law of attraction provided more wealth for you?
Yeah. One of the things that I've been thinking about is the law of nothing is random. Everything is interconnected. The all the experiences that you have are interconnected. When I first got started in business, I worked for a very large company that one day we were going to have a big sales meeting, and they called us in, and they decided that they were going to declare bankruptcy, and we were all let go. And my boss gave me a couple of assignments, and I did them. It came that Friday. Everybody else left. I was the last one in the office. I packed up my little box, and he said, "Well, wait, before you go, come on in here." So I went into his office, and he goes, "Look, we need someone to take care of all of our customers. Would you be willing to do that?" And I was like, "Well, what is it going to entail?" And he explained. And effectively, what happened was I was put into business on a Friday afternoon. Had I gone early, somebody else or nobody else would have got that opportunity. So it wasn't random. It was kind of meant to be. And it got back to your question that you asked about how has fear impacted your, interaction with law of attraction. And in that case, there was no time for fear. It was like, you're either going to jump into the deep end of the pool or you're going to go home. So, fear or not, you have to either break through it or you have to decide that this is not for you or it's going to conquer you. And, I made the decision that it wasn't going to conquer me. I was just going to go for it. So, in many cases, the randomness, it's not really random. You're meant to be put in those situations where you're going to confront the fear. And it's different than fear that you choose. It's different than fear of, I don't know, if you're afraid of playing a sport, or if you've broken your leg and you're afraid of playing a sport because you might injure your leg again. It's different than that kind of a fear. Some fears are relative. It's relative to your experience. For example, you've got a fear of spiders. You stand on a chair and you can't stand to even be in the same area of a spider, and I can just reach down, pick a spider up, and throw it outside. It's relative to what our experience is. Maybe you have that experience. I've never had a bad experience. So fear is kind of a relative term. I can see how it can work with the law of attraction, but it's not really native to the law of attraction.
Thank you for saying this. And now I remember, Mark, that I have been living for a few years by a quote. We could actually consider it a sub law of the law of attraction. Just let me know what you think. Fortune favors the bold, meaning that, like you did, no time for hesitating, no time for
Yes.
fear. You see it, you take it. Then
Yes.
amazing opportunities come to you.
Yes. I think that's definitely a subset of that. And it's a subset of the fears as well. When there's no time to decide, then you have to make the choice. I'm going to be fearful or I'm not. And you know, how many stories do we see every day? People save people's lives. There's a burning car. They go to get the person out. They don't think. They just act. And I think there's a lot of law of attraction that's based on that as well. Being fearful. Being fearful is okay if it's going to mean, dire consequences. But in many cases, you're really not in control of that fear because you're going to either act or don't act. In my case, it wasn't a serious incident. I could have not acted and been safe, but I felt as though I wanted to act. And yeah, it's definitely a subset.
Amazing. And Mark, I think that our audience would like to know, what do you do now when you feel fear creeping in?
I think, again, the action part. I mean, if it's really fearful, you have to look at it. You have to look at it logically and say, is this really going to hurt me? Is this going to cause me some really irreparable harm? Or is this just my mind saying, think about it for 5 minutes or a day, and not throw it out completely? So yeah, I think that's the way I tackle it. That's the way I feel about it. Just it's not going to harm me. I'm going to try it probably.
This is amazing that you built so much experience through the years that you are now almost getting like an observer of the situation of how fear looks, and not many people can do that. You know that I'm a fear specialist, and I still have sometimes a challenging time, and I have to be honest, still human here, still learning how to deal with many new situations. Like, for example, with my baby girl, she does all sorts of things, and then I don't have time to think about it anymore, so I need to act. And what I developed in the process, Mark, and I'm curious to know your insight about this, is embracing and seeing mistakes and failure like an amazing thing to experience because of the great lessons that you get from everything that is happening around you. How do you see failure, and how does the law of attraction consider mistakes and failing?
Yeah, I think that the law of attraction sees that as, risk taking is good. Failure is a learning experience. And if you're paralyzed by failure, then you're going to have a tough time in life, I think, because there are many times when you're going to fail and it might not even be your fault. It could, like, say, for example, look at the economic conditions we're in now. Suppose, you bought a house and you could afford that house at the time you bought it. Suddenly the world falls apart, your payment goes up 2 or 3 times, and now what? You made the decision, the right decision at the right time. Sometimes circumstances that are out of your control take over. And I think people don't appreciate that, and they beat themselves up horribly for those kind of perceived mistakes, and they're perceived, they're not real mistakes. They are just part of life that's happened and you're out of control of it. So getting up and dusting oneself off and going forward again and not being paralyzed by that fear is always a big part of the law of attraction. If you're gonna exude that failure attitude, that's what you're gonna attract. You have to learn to put it behind you pretty quick, and that's tough. It's very tough to do. I have a tough time doing that. So when you fail at something, if you're not going to try it again, you need to put it behind you and just say, look, that was a good lesson to learn. I'm living, I didn't die, and yeah, it might have cost me something financially, but I learned a lesson, and I'll move forward again, and I'll try something else. So
There's
fear plays
always
a part.
tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. And since we say that there's always tomorrow, we never have tomorrow 100% guaranteed. Well, let's be honest. It is going to happen for maybe 95% of us, because still a big amount of people that go to bed in the evening may not get up in the morning, because this is how life is. And I love the realism that you talk with about these situations, like the rain. You cannot really manage the rain. Well, unless you are maybe having some interesting rockets that can mingle with the clouds. So it's a matter of always looking for solutions as well, right, Mark? Because let's say that you cannot really mingle with the rain, but you can decide not to go on a picnic when it's raining, right? You can have the picnic inside. There's always a good side to all of the negative that's happening. And my question to you, Mark, do you have a special tip that you can give to our audience, or is it just the experience that comes along with just going through all of these experiences, and in time they get this focus on solutions? Or is there any key to having this?
A little bit of planning maybe. So say you're going on the picnic, right? And there's clouds in the sky. Well, maybe you should bring an umbrella and a raincoat. And if you're in the middle of the picnic and it starts raining, well, you put the raincoat on, you put the umbrella up, and you finish the picnic. A little bit of forethought, can create just as good experience as if there was no rain, right? So a little bit of planning like that. I just think it's resilience. I do think that a lot of it is personal experience and age, and having failed over and over again. It sort of brings you kind of a tougher exterior. But even there are setbacks that you can try and manage, and I'm going to give you one right now. I told you last time about the story about my watchmaker that I found. And this was totally kind of a law of attraction thing. I put the energy out there. I need to find a new watchmaker. Turns out one opened in my town. I went in there. I was like stepping into a Harry Potter movie. We got to talking about watches, and I took another one of my watches in there to be repaired. This was a fairly expensive watch, and I trusted him. I went to pick the watch up, and he goes, oh, I gave him the ticket. He goes, do you have a watch here? And I was like, Joshua, you must be kidding. Of course I have a watch here. He said, I thought you came and picked it up. He goes, let me go look. He couldn't find the watch. And he claimed that I came and picked it up. And I said, well, no. I said, I never paid for it. I never did anything. He goes, well, I'm going to have to look back through my receipts. Maybe someone else picked it up. Turns out no one picked it up. It's in his shop. He didn't take it home. So we stood over the counter, and I said to him, Joshua, the next few days, I want you to just put it in your mind that you already found the watch. The watch is here. You already found it, and in a week, you'll call me. Sure enough, In a week, he called me and goes, Mark, I found your watch. I go, well, where was it? He goes, it was in a drawer under some papers. I was working late at night. Just kind of lost it. It wasn't where it was supposed to be, and it's totally my fault. But he goes, do you realize how many nights I went to bed not able to sleep because this was the first time in my life that I ever lost someone's watch? And I go, well, you see, it's just you have to have the right mindset, and you relaxed, and all of a sudden you found it. And I think that's kind of the way we generally kind of go through life sometimes. You know, you can't stress over all these little problems. You put your intention out there, and you say, this is what I'm going to achieve. And this is not a light bulb. You just don't turn this stuff on and turn it off. It takes time. Nothing in manifestation is easy or simple. It occurs over time. So you can't be impatient. And if you obsess over it, what happens is you're obsessing over something you don't have, and you don't have it more and more and more. So I think the watchword is, if you're going to set an intention and try and manifest, you set the intention, you let it go, and it'll work its way out if it's meant to be.
What a beautiful story, Mark. I've been writing many things down because this has been full of golden nuggets of wisdom. And I realized that many of the people that I have a conversation with, not necessarily business, they say, well, I'm not patient enough to start a YouTube channel. I'm not patient enough to go and get those dancing lessons. I'm just not patient enough to have another child. People think that if they are not born with patience, they're never going to acquire it, but it is a skill. And I think it's one of the most important ones when it comes to the law of attraction, because we just need to build this gradually. Just let it out there. And yes, it's not maybe that easy for the human nature that wants it yesterday. I want a new car, right? I want it 2 days ago.
And if you want manifestation in your life, you have to start with the very simple things. And I think we've talked about this before. Try manifesting a parking space when there's no parking space. When you're driving around, you say, you know what? There's going to be a space that's going to come up in the next 5 minutes. I know it. I can feel it. Sure enough, someone will pull out and you'll pull in. So when you start with the real simple things, it'll teach you to have patience for the bigger things. And there are a couple of these that I kind of wrote down that I want to go over with you. In the law of attraction and manifestation, you can say things like this: my thoughts create my reality. There is nothing that is out of reach for me. I have the power to manifest anything. I constantly attract great opportunities. And the most important one, I let go of negativity and all my limiting beliefs. So when you say things like that and have those thoughts in your mind, you're going to go a long way towards getting the results that you want. And you can do that in the morning, you can do that in the evening, however your schedule permits. So that's what I think about in terms of manifesting and having that be part of the law of attraction. Those are 5 real simple ones. There's a lot more of them, but for now, I think that pretty much are the main ones.
I love these amazing positive affirmations because just a great reminder how we have everything inside of us. And based on that great story about shoes that we talked about last time, let me tell you what I manifested 2 weeks ago. So I wanted some sports shoes because I'm so into the gym now, going 3 times per week. Very happy of the mental clarity that I have from there more than anything else. It's just relaxing me and making me focus on solutions every time I just work out and just blow off some steam. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, there are many options. where to buy my sports shoes. But it wasn't like I really need them. I was upset that I have so many options. I was just grateful in a way that I can choose several nice stores to go and look for the right ones because I wanted a pair that would be both sporty but not that running shoes kind of sporty, something that goes like with a regular outfit. And my dad, I think it was 3 days later, that brought me my ideal pair of sports shoes exactly the way that I wanted them as a gift.
Wow.
I was
Wow,
so
that's
happy.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's that's um, that's quite a story too. That's a really great story. So
yeah,
you set the intention. You had no obsession, and it just sort of happened. And I think that story goes a long way to showing you what can occur. And yeah, I love that story.
exactly. When we just have that faith in everything that happens around us. It's like the universe really works so that we get everything that we want. I think that that's why we are here, to build resilience, as you just said, to build that patience, to start building everything slowly, gradually, by also helping the people around us get what they want.
Exactly. And you gave me a great idea. I've got a bunch of these affirmations. What I'm going to do is assemble them in a document. I'm going to put them in the store on my website as a free download. So anyone who wants them can go there, give me a day or two to put them together. I'll put them in the store and I'll make a free download for you, and you'll know that they're there. So I think that's a great idea. That will help. I think that'll help a lot of people.
Definitely, Mark. What a fabulous idea. And you just read my mind. This is the time when I wanted to ask you to tell everyone how can they get your amazing course, The Law of Attraction and Manifestation. Tell us about your platform. How do you help people? Tell us everything.
Well, basically, what happened was is I got started with that video by Jim Carey from my friend Chip, and I watched it. I wanted more knowledge. I started reading books. I listened to some seminars. I consulted with a couple of experts, and I started with a yellow pad and a pen, and I pretty much wrote down all the desires that I had, and then I wrote down all the gratitude that I had. And the gratitude was twice as much as the things that I wanted. So when I got all done, I said to myself, this was interesting, but it wasn't very structured, and it took a while. And I thought, maybe there's a better way. Maybe I should create a course and have it, maybe over 8 or 9 weeks and structure it out and actually guide someone how to do it. And so that's how the course got started, and that's how it occurred. And I think it helps to have a structured approach because, and it's human nature, people left to their own devices, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Is this right? Is this wrong? And then they go, you know what? I quit. That's too complicated for me. I couldn't do it anyway. So by having a structure, I think this would assist people in going from step A to step Z and then having a guideline to revisit it. This is not a do it once and forget it. This is a living, breathing document because your gratitude is going to change every month. Things you want, believe it or not, you're going to get. And those come off the list. And that makes room for new things to go on the list. So it's kind of a process. And it's just a document that it gives you a framework to complete the process. So that's how it got started. It's a download on the website. You can buy it, and there's a coupon code. I think your coupon code is Roxana, and they can get a discount if they want to buy the course. There's also a lot of free things on there on manifestation, on gratitude. There's lots of free things on there. I encourage everybody to go there and download whatever they want. I get a report each week that tells me what's been downloaded, so I know that it's well used. And that's a part of giving back, right? So I'm going to put these affirmations on there too. You're welcome to download them and use them. And send me a note. Get in touch with me on Instagram. Let me know if you used one of these and how did it work out. That's always gratifying to know. And I think you had asked me a question about what truly inspires me. So basically, having done 300 of these posts on Instagram so far, I've had people contact me and tell me, thank you so much. You know, when I get depressed or when I get down, I go back to some of the favorite ones that you did and I watch them again. And, or you've inspired me to do this based on this specific post. You know, I've watched it and I really enjoy it. That's what's so inspiring. And for me, if I didn't sell one course, that's worth millions right there. So when you can influence people and help people, I think that's super, super great. And that's what inspires me to keep doing it. And every time I want to do a post and I go, oh, you know, I'm tired. I don't know what to say. I can't plan this out. It all comes together at the last minute. You do the post and then someone just is so blown away by it that they send you a DM and say thank you. That makes it all worthwhile, whether I make a dime or not. So
Wow.
that was one of the questions that you had about inspiration. So
Yes, wow. Thank you for mentioning this, Mark. And I want to say how grateful and privileged I am because I got a chance to see up close your amazing course. Oh my God. This is something that I recommend to everyone that they take a look at because that structure, it's it's a complex topic. I have to be honest. However, how you put it there, how you explain it, our fearless friends, you have got to check Mark's website. Mark, please tell us the name of your website so that everyone can go check it out.
yes, it's Get the Law of Attraction with dashes in between each word.com. And it's a very simple website. All the products are in the store, and I'm sure we'll put it in the link in the notes. And yeah, there's lots of resources there for you to look at and just think about. Also on my Instagram account, try to post there every day, updated content and anything that's of interest. And it comes together very spontaneously. It's not planned out. I don't think this kind of stuff can get planned out. If I have a really great day, I'm inspired to do things that maybe if I planned it out, it wouldn't have occurred. So it all comes together pretty much at the end of the day. I sit down and go, what was today like? What do I want to talk about today? And I think that's the beauty of Instagram. You can be very structured and schedule your posts out 30 days in advance. But for me, it wouldn't work because these universal laws work in such a way that it just wouldn't work. That's basically my thought on that. And the course is going to be changing. I'm constantly updating it. The manifestation journal is going to change a little bit. And I've sent that out to a bunch of people who really needed it. And I've got incredible feedback for it. So I'm very happy with the way those things turned out.
That's amazing. And I have to thank you again for sending it to me because ever since I have a look at it once in a while after I have completed it, because you have some amazing exercises and questions there. And I'm saying this to encourage our friends to have a look at Mark's website. You can download many amazing things there. And what you did with this course was to make something that is very complex, maybe woohoo, because many people, like if you ask my dad, he would say, what is this thing all about? Is it witchcraft? And it's funny. And it's also outstanding to me that in 2022, we still have people that think that this is something to be avoided. We just
Well,
need to.
not only avoided, but feared. it's feared. This is powerful stuff. And whenever you have powerful stuff at work, people can fear it, right? And that dovetails right into your area of expertise.
Exactly. And I have noticed that we just fear the greatness that we already have within us. It's like we are somehow rejecting it because we already have it within. It's from the source, the higher self, God, the universe. We can call it any way we want to, but somehow we think that we cannot handle it. Well, in fact, if we just embrace it as simply being a part of the nature that we are building on every single day here, it's just plain and simple under our noses, right?
This is the reality, and it's under your control, and it's the law of free will. You have the free will to say yes. I'm gonna go and try this, and what's the worst thing that can happen? I wanted that new pair of shoes and I didn't get it, right? What's the worst thing that's going to happen? My self-confidence is not improved. How can that possibly be? If you concentrate on making yourself better and greater, you're going to have a subconscious effect that you won't be able to understand. Things will start to happen, things you might not even be able to explain. So I think it's worth a try. It's all within you. You can call it God, you can call it spirit, you can call however you want to call it. But I think until you investigate it, until you try it, then you're not really going to know. And not knowing is worse than trying. That's my feeling on it. So.
I totally relate with this, Mark. This has been revelatory. I've put down some amazing things here. I've even highlighted some. So, our friends, welcome to your life that you can create by just embracing everything that you have handy, meaning your amazing spiritual nature that can be truly built with help from being patient and building it day by day through gratitude. Gratitude, Mark, if I were to have a great takeaway for today, I would say that being grateful is the key, the answer, the secret to having all of the success that we want. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a very, very large part. Very, very large part. And each of us can do physical acts of gratitude in your own community, just like I've done. It's part of the course, right? There's nothing that says you can't buy somebody a cup of coffee. There's nothing that says you can't buy someone who looks downtrodden a hamburger. And you change people's lives like one little thing at a time, and before you know it, that person changes. You can see the changes in people like that. Just like my friend Carol, who is living out of a car. I mean, her and her sister are not living in a car anymore. I mean, what a great story is that? I mean, that was just the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me. So.
Wow, this is a beautiful story, and indeed, you are inspiring us to do good. A small, maybe sometimes just a smile, can truly change someone's day, someone's life. So, thank you for our talk today, Mark. People can get in touch with you on your amazing website, Get the Law of Attraction with hyphens between each word.com. You can find Mark on Instagram. Connect with him because he has so much wisdom going on. He's an amazing friend, supporting all of our community with everything that he can. Much appreciated, Mark. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing the amazing things that you are about to create in the future.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for having me, as always. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And now, saying goodbye to our YouTube friends, my fearless friends. I am in um, changing updating part of my life. So apologies for the technical setup for today. Just making sure that you are aware of things looking a bit different than last time. But I can assure you that this has been a lesson well learned. And next time you're going to see my guest even better than today. I know that Mark is so kind, but we still have this amazing Zoom recording. So catch us later on. Thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions for Mark, please have them in the comments. You're going to find all of his details in the description of this live session. Do not hesitate to have a talk with Mark because he's going to blow you away completely. Thank you and have a great day ahead. You'll see me shortly with another great live topic. Oh.